Have you ever felt like you're the only one fighting for connection, constantly questioning if you matter to the person you love? Maybe you've experienced a partner pulling away right when things get close, feeling like you're too much for wanting affection or clarity, chasing after emotional breadcrumbs just to feel seen or validated. Maybe wondering if you're imagining the mixed signals or if you're just not good enough. And so you might be asking yourself, is it even possible to be loved without having to shrink, chase, or overperform? And really wanting to know, do avoidant partners actually regret leaving after a breakup? And if they do, is there anything that I can do about it? How can I get my avoidant ex back? Well, if you can relate to this 10-minute video is for you. In this clip, I'm going to explain the most common questions I receive in my online community, including, do avoidant partners actually regret the breakup? Will no contact make them miss me? And the biggest mistake people make when trying to attract their avoidant partner back. This will help you stop walking on eggshells or chasing a ghost and start stepping into your emotional sovereignty so you can feel empowered in love without begging, chasing, or pretending not to care. And just in case you're feeling doubtful, yes, avoidant partners can and do come back after healing a pattern of emotional unavailability and withdrawal, and they can start to connect more deeply. Take my student Mikhail, for example. Mikhail was struggling in relationships with partners who would accuse him of being emotionally unavailable and distant, even when he was trying to connect. He was also struggling with automatic negative thinking, a powerful inner critic, and punishing perfectionism, which stifled his creative passion. In our work together, Mikhail found the arts-based activities and focus wheel exercises in my Attachment 101 courses allowed him to let go of that perfectionism and connect to his inner child. Then he could communicate with more genuine emotion, leading to deeper intimacy and love. Here's what Mikhail had to say in his own words.
I found out that I have these attachment issues. I want to find out what I could do about it. But the best part was being a creative person. I paint in daily life. I have a craftsmanship about it. And in these exercises, I get a presence for my inner child, I think. I get an overview perspective on it and also a practical angle to my own healing process. I think I've started making a healing manual, things I can do in daily life. I also like the guided visualizations. You have a good voice. I like that a lot. And also the focus wheel. After doing it a couple of times, I think I'm more focused now. If you really want to do something about it, you have to join the courses. Not all advices are so good as the courses, I think.
Hi. I'm Brianna McWilliam, and I'm a board-certified creative arts psychotherapist, author, and attachment coach. With over 20 years of experience and more than 6,000 students and clients served, I help high-achieving, spiritually minded individuals heal attachment wounds and build secure, soulful love without needing to be perfect, fix themselves, or fake it till you make it. And today I am excited to dive into our topic of how to get an avoidant ex back. So before we dive into that question specifically, I think it's important to lay some groundwork by answering some of the other questions that typically come up after a breakup. The first one being, do avoidants actually regret the breakup? The short answer is yes, but they process it differently. Avoidant partners often detach emotionally and they shut down not because they don't care, but because emotions can feel threatening. And so they may want to end the romantic aspects of a relationship, but retain the more friendly connection. For instance, my student Candace had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for almost 3 years. When they were on a break, she would often get drawn back into the relationship when her avoidant partner would like or comment on her social media, but not message her directly. He might text a casual check-in with a funny emoji and then disappear if she asked a more serious question. Or maybe he would make a date to spend time together, try to revitalize the connection, and then throw himself back into work or be too busy to follow up on sustaining that connection. And Candace would feel confused but excited by the idea that her ex missed her and might come back to her in a more committed way. Because of that, she would avoid expressing deeper needs for fear of pushing him away. She would prioritize his schedule and preferences over her own. And she would remain emotionally open, available, and responsive at all times, hoping that it would inspire him to do the same. And because Candace responded in a way that accommodated her partner's sensitivities while excluding her own needs, he would come back. But then the cycle would repeat, because there was no challenge to grow. Overall, if an avoidant partner reaches out, it may seem indirect because vulnerability feels unsafe. They might also be testing the waters to see if you'll acquiesce and accept the level of connection that feels safer for them, or if you will insist on something deeper and more than they want or feel ready for. And so next, a lot of my clients and students might ask, well, okay, Brianna, so let's say that they take space and we're on a break, we go no contact. Is that going to make them miss me and come back? Does that regret lead to action? So it's important to note that the space they take, especially if you have agreed to a period of no contact for a period of time, can be used in service of the relationship or in service of escape. If they're using the space to process their feelings and come back with a willingness to address whatever rupture or repair might be required, then that space is being used in service of growing together. Processing their feelings in that case would look like maybe journaling or talking with a therapist and a counselor about their relational patterns, reflecting on their emotional triggers instead of deflecting blame, acknowledging their part in the disconnection, and coming up with their own vision for repair. On the other hand, if they use the space to simply find relief without processing difficult feelings, it's more about escaping discomfort. And they're more likely to return without having addressed the original issue, hoping that you won't bring it up or pretend like nothing happened. In essence, it's like they're resetting the relationship from the beginning because they're just better at the honeymoon phase than they are at a maturing phase of love. Now, in this case, the space is not really in service of growing the relationship together, but it is still in service of protecting their vulnerability. And that doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong or they're doing it right. It simply is telling you a lot of important information about their readiness for growth and their capacity for evolving in the type of relationship that you want. And you should not ignore that information. Now, if you'd like to learn more about what your ex might be feeling during a period of no contact, check out my YouTube video, No Contact with Avoidant Partners, What Your Ex is Feeling Right Now. Okay, so how do you get your avoidant ex to come back? But let's tackle the biggest mistake people make when giving a partner space after a breakup. So giving an avoidant partner the space that they need, whether it is to process their feelings or to come back and demonstrate they're really not ready, is not always easy. The biggest mistake people make when giving space is that they offer it in a punishing or manipulative way. Well, I'm going to go radio silent so they know how much this hurts, and then they'll come running back. And so this grasping for control from a place of pain, woundedness, and helplessness can create more distance, and you're not likely to get honest answers. The problem is we don't always realize when we are slipping into these kinds of power dynamics. For instance, an anxious partner might try to indirectly elicit attention and provoke a response during no contact by posting highly curated photos to suggest that they are unbothered and happier than they really are on their social media. They might send accidental text messages that are suggestive and intended for somebody else to inspire jealousy. Or maybe they go about sabotaging themselves in some way to create an emotional crisis that requires their partner to connect again sooner rather than risk looking like a jerk. Now, on the other hand, if you're able to hold that space with a calm, grounded energy, avoidant partners might feel safer coming back and leaning in. And then you will find out one way or the other if they are capable of growing with you or simply not ready yet. Now, bringing this back to my student Candace, she learned how to hold this kind of grounded energy by practicing guided visualizations and somatic exercises when anxiety spiked. She would create art as a form of self-expression and nervous system regulation, and she was consistent with changing her mindset practices, adopting affirmations like, "I'm safe to love without overgiving or abandoning myself." This helped her to embrace more emotional control, which allowed her to speak her truth without fear, and that created space for her partner to step up without feeling pressured, trapped, or criticized. So when her ex would reach out with a casual text to check in, instead of immediately replying with a long emotional message or trying to rekindle the conversation, she would pause, check in with herself, and respond in a concise and warm way without any urgency. When she might run into him among mutual friends, instead of over-explaining herself, fishing for validation, or acting overly aloof, she would smile genuinely, stay engaged with others, and treat him with a kind neutrality. And in those moments when she felt that sense of longing and really missing his company, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, obsessively checking his socials, or texting him to relieve the ache, she let the feeling move through her body, would journal about her thoughts and feelings, and remind herself of her deeper needs and desires. And these things attracted her partner back because when she would respond with grounded presence instead of emotional urgency, it demonstrated that she was no longer seeking him out to soothe her anxiety, and that made her feel safer to him. And when she interacted with ease and self-respect, it sent the message that she valued herself enough not to chase what was not freely given. And when she held herself through the ache without making it his responsibility, it allowed her to trust that her needs could be met, either with him or someone even more aligned. Now, in Candace's situation, ultimately, these changes did lead to a revitalization and reconnection in a much healthier and thriving relationship. But Candace did not have to figure this out on her own. The tools in my Attachment 101 course, including things like guided visualizations, somatic art-based activities, and reframing mindset practices, helped her to feel worthy without overworking, helped her to trust her emotional compass, and to call in a deeper experience of love. I'll let Candace tell you in her own words.
I cannot begin to tell you the changes these courses have made in my life. I think the creative arts therapy is unique and a game changer. I'm a regular meditator and yogi, so I'm very familiar with all different kinds of meditations, but the ones in Brown's courses are pretty powerful. There was so much healing that occurred. Since taking this coursework, I have found I have more confidence. I have more trust in others. I also have trust in the universe. My partner of 2.5 years, now 3 years, did come back in my life after doing the courses for about a month. This partnership that I thought was over and had felt like a roller coaster for 2.5 years is thriving. It's definitely worthwhile. And the cost is, in my case, no more than 1 or 2 therapy sessions. So it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And what you gain, you cannot put a price on.
Now, if you are inspired by Candace's story, I invite you to click the link attached to this video and take a quick and easy attachment styles quiz. You will learn the strengths, struggles, and unique growth challenges for your attachment style, and a special offer on the best course and starting point for you. Okay, so let's wrap this up with some final thoughts. Avoidant partners don't miss the polished version of you. They miss the one who feels emotionally safe. And that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have your own feelings and needs, but they will want you to be in charge of them. So imagine going to the park and you see 2 dogs. One is leashed and calm, and the owner seems to have an affectionate control over it. The other dog is unleashed, running around and barking with a chaotic energy, and you can't even tell who the owner is. Which dog do you think you would feel safer approaching? So your emotions are valid and should be acknowledged no matter what. But if they feel out of control to you, that is definitely going to feel unsafe for them and they will back off. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't participate in your emotional experiences. Being in charge of your emotions allows you to safely invite an avoidant partner into your emotional world, as opposed to asking them to take full responsibility for your well being. If they feel invited, they are more likely to want to come back and contribute to your happiness because it respects their autonomy and implies a choice. If they feel obligated, it's usually because they sense some degree of desperation on your part and they are less likely to return. Now, if you want to attract an avoidant partner back, it is time to replace some old beliefs like if I try harder, they'll come back, I have to be perfect to be loved, and things like that, with new beliefs such as love grows when I feel safe inside myself. And I don't have to disappear to be missed. I need to step into my own emotional sovereignty. And so by adopting these new beliefs, you'll be able to stop overfunctioning to earn love and start anchoring into self-trust and inner calm, which makes space for authentic connection to flourish, even with someone who is shy about getting close. So how is this landing with you? Have you ever struggled to give your partner space? Has a partner ever come back after time apart, ready to take things to the next level? Have you ever had to say no, even when they did come back, because you were ready to break a cycle? Let me know in the comments below. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend that could use the inspiration. I deeply appreciate your support. It keeps me motivated and this channel going. Thank you for watching and have a great week. Also, remember to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. I put out videos once a week and I wouldn't want you to miss out.